you gorgeous individuals. It's Kav here, and as you can tell, I am in a different space. I finally got myself some lights so that I could film inside and that I could have better lighting in my videos. So I'm still kind of working with the background a bit and everything. I apologize if anything isn't necessarily perfect. This is my first time filming in this new space, so I'm gonna try to get more used to it and see what looks best in my videos. So I hope you can just stick with me while I do that. But the lighting and such is finally good, and I can finally have my bookshelf in my videos, so that's really cool. I know this shelf seems really bare, and this is the most bare shelf on my bookshelf. All the other ones are completely filled, so it's kind of unfortunate that this is the one in the background, but I promise you I have some good books down there. Anyway, with the new month, I'm going to be bringing you all a new TBR. So today I'm going to be sharing with you all my August TBR, because doing a TBR in July really helped me keep up with my reading goals, so I decided to do it again in August and see if it continues to help me. The first book on my TBR is The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. I've actually already finished this one. I started it on my trip back and I completely enjoyed it, so I ended up finishing it already and I completely loved it, but I don't want to go too much into my thoughts because I can talk more about that in my wrap-up, so I'll just give you all a brief summary, I guess, of what this is about. The Rest of Us Just Live Here is basically a story that, instead of focusing on the chosen one, focuses on the ordinary kids. So it's an interesting play on the chosen one trope, and I've only read one of Patrick Ness's books before, and that was A Monster Calls. I'll link my review somewhere so you all can check that out, but I absolutely adored that novel so much, and I hear from many people that this is their favorite Patrick Ness book, so I decided to pick it up myself, and I loved this one as well, and I really recommend it. I think that he has a way of bringing something so unique to his books that not many writers can do. That's what I've noticed from what I've read of him. So I do recommend him. He's probably going to become one of my favorite authors as I read more of his work, if it all adds up to how lovely these two books have been. The next book on my list is Library of Fates by Aditi Khorana. This is the August Bookbound Society Book of the Month, and if you checked out my July TBR, you would know that I joined Bookbound Society last month, so I'm really excited to read this one because this has been on my list since I first heard about it, so now I finally get the chance to read it with some other lovely people. Library of Fates deals a lot with Indian mythology, and many of you may know that I am Indian myself, and Indian mythology is something I grew up learning and experiencing, and I take pride in my culture, so I'm really excited to see a book written by someone who also has lived this life and has learned this culture and really knows it firsthand, because it's just so exciting to see my culture represented in a book. The next book I have on my list is Pashmina by Nidhi Chanani. This is another book relating to India in some way. I was lucky enough to receive a signed copy of this, what I believe is a graphic novel. For the life of me, I'm still horrible at telling the difference between graphic novels and comic books, but from what I've understood, this would be considered a graphic novel. I was lucky enough to get a signed version of this from my friend Shenwi, who is an amazing member of the bookish community, and I profusely apologize if I butchered that in any way. I talk a lot about how important it is to pronounce people of color's names correctly, so I really apologize. I forgot to check with them before filming this video, but they are an amazing member of the bookish community and I admire them so much, so I am really fortunate to have received this graphic novel from them that deals with a teen who is kind of learning about her culture and her being Indian for the first time, because she hasn't really gotten that opportunity, as her mom hasn't really discussed any of that with her, and her mom is the only parent she has in her life, so she doesn't really have that opportunity to really learn about that. But through this graphic novel she does experience that, and I'm so excited to read it because I just, again, love seeing my culture and people like me showcased in books and in other forms of storytelling. The next book I have on my list is actually an arc. It is Mask of Shadows by Lindsay Miller, and I talked about how I love seeing parts of myself showcased in forms of literature or media, and this has a gender fluid main character, which some of you may know that I identify as gender fluid / non-binary. I will link the video where I talk more about that and my experiences being queer somewhere in the description or up here. This book is basically a fantasy story that follows a gender fluid pickpocket, and I'm really excited to read it because of all my friends who've gotten arcs, they've had just brilliant things to say about this, so I'm really excited to see a gender fluid main character in fantasy because that just sounds amazing. I've never seen that before. To be honest, I don't know that I've ever seen a gender fluid main character in any books, at least not in any books in print form that have been published. So I'm really excited to read this one because I've heard just brilliant things about it and I'm excited to see myself represented. The next book on my list is also an arc. It is How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake, and I know this book came out in May and I'm horrible for not getting to it till now. I suck when it comes to physical arcs because I always think of them as books when they're really arcs because they're in paper, so they seem like books to me, but I'm so upset that I haven't gotten to it yet. But I've heard absolutely amazing things about this, and I was lucky enough to receive a copy of this arc from my friend Riley, and while I mentioned that, I received my copy of Mask of Shadows from my friend Kat, and I will link all the people who have given me any of these books in the description below so that you all can go and support them. This book features a bisexual main character and a love interest of color and has a female by female romance, and some of you may know that I am actually biromantic myself, so this month is a great month for reading books that represent me in some way. I've heard great things about this novel and I'm so excited to finally get to this arc because it has been way too long and I have been putting this off for too long. But August is known as Arc August, which I actually just discovered at the beginning of this month, so I guess it's fitting that I read my 2 unread arcs this month. The last book I have on my list for this month is Tash Hart's Tolstoy by Catherine Ormsby, and this book features an asexual main character. Some of you may know that I identify as asexual myself, so I decided to wrap it up this month by having books that represent all different aspects of me, which I am so fortunate to finally see because it has been a long time coming to getting diverse media published, and we still have a long ways to go, of course, but it is so nice to see that there is a month where I have a book for every single part of me, although I do hope that one day I have books for multiple aspects of myself, but that is a discussion for a different day. Basically, Tash Hart's Tolstoy is a book that I have heard amazing things about, and it features an internet personality actually as well. From what I understand, the main character has a web series, so I'm really excited to see where it goes and how it deals with that and deals with kind of implementing this idea of modern media and like what modern teenagers tend to do, especially for people like us who are so involved in an online community, and also having an asexual main character because those are 2 aspects that I can really identify with. I'm also an online personality who is very involved in an online community, so I'm really excited to see both parts of myself in this book, and I'm just super excited to read it because I have heard great things about it as well. Those are all the books I have on my list this month, and I am so excited to read them all because, as I said, all of them, other than The Rest of Us Just Live Here, represent me in some way, so I'm really excited to be able to see that in literature, and they're also all books that I've heard amazing things about from fellow booktubers / friends, so I'm really excited to finally get to all of these novels this month, and I'd love to hear if any of you all have read these books, so let me know in the comments down below, have you read any of these books, or let me know what your August TBR is, and I will have the diversity and trigger warnings for all of these books listed in the description below. I do that for all of my TBRs / wrap-ups / book hauls or any other videos where I share with you all a list of books so that you all can have all the information before going into one of these novels. So I will do my best to make sure all of that is 100% accurate for you all, and as I said, I will also have all of the people who sent me any of these books linked in the description below so that you all can find them and send them some love because it's a wonderful community we have, and I would love to share the love with some other members of this community. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and subscribe because that stuff makes me happy. And as I said, leave a comment down below letting me know what your August TBR is, or letting me know if you've read any of these books, and if so, what your thoughts are. If you have subscribed, be sure to click that little notification bell so that you get notified and never miss whenever I post a new video, because this month I'm posting 2 videos a week instead of 1, so that is double the fun. I hope you all are having a lovely day or night wherever you are. Please remember you're beautiful and you deserve the world, and I will see you this Wednesday with a brand new video. Goodbye!